Got a question for you. Should someone be allowed to have a child with frozen embryos if the other parent no longer wants a child?
It's a question posed by a controversial court case in Arizona right now. So a cancer survivor froze embryos with her husband before she had chemotherapy. Now the couple's divorced and the man doesn't want to father her children anymore.
Boy, is this complicated. Ryan Cody is here. So many questions and ramifications. So she still wants the kids and there are her embryos, but they both need to consent, right?
Well, because he would be the father,
right,
if she was to birth one or many more of these children. You know, it might be the woman's only chance to have kids in her life. That's really the sad part here. But you can't exactly force someone to father those kids, right? Actually, in Arizona, you can because of this particular case. But the ruling only applies to future frozen embryos. Does not apply to this particular divorced couple. And the Arizona Supreme Court ruled in the ex-husband's favor on Thursday, meaning his embryos and her embryos now must be donated to another couple, a third party. That's the agreement they made in writing with the fertility clinic way back when. Here's both lawyers on the outcome.
She's pretty devastated, obviously. It was her only chance to have children.
She wanted to use the embryos herself and force my client to become a father against his will. Even if his ex-wife used their embryo after they got divorced, and the child was born after they got divorced, he could be on the hook for child support for 18 years.
She offered to not hold him financially responsible at all.
The child support thing is certainly an interesting angle here, but the new law would absolve the other parent from having to make child support payments. Still, though, they'd have to father the child. So what do you think about this whole thing? We asked you this morning on our 12 News Facebook page, and Shandy says, this is sad. She should have just had her eggs frozen and not made the embryos. That
That's
way
another option,
she would have been able to do that. Pro-choice should be a two-way street. The man should get a say in whether or not he becomes a father, says Kate. I would hope a lot of people would agree with that. But what if she becomes widowed and wants to have his child? From what I understand about this whole thing,
geez, I didn't even think about that.
You would have to get that in writing, I guess, before you froze your embryos of what would happen in these particular situations.
I actually know the answer to that.
Yeah,
my sister's a widow and had this same question after her husband passed.
And the answer?
No consent. So I mean, they couldn't do anything. Isn't that sad? I know. Just to have the option, but I feel a little bit for the woman in this case because it's
I feel for both sides. This is such an odd circumstance here.
So odd and so complicated.
I mean, if he's worried about child support, couldn't they come to some sort of secondary agreement?
Right, but then at the same time, I mean, you have to know there's a child of yours walking around the earth that you weren't wanting to have. That's tough. That's tough.
All right, guys, let us know.